Chapter 12. They huddled around Detective Callie White's desk at the Vista Ridge PD while she fiddled with her computer, pulling up the McKnight video. "Here it is," she said. The video opened showing a naked, barely conscious Penny McKnight supported between two young men. Matt recognized Raymond Merrick on her right side. "I recognize Merrick. Who's the other?" Matt asked. "That's Ed Black," Detective White said. "Mars," he said, referring to Black's chosen god. The boys were obviously under the influence. Alcohol at a minimum, Matt suspected. Their movements were exaggerated, eyes glassy. Merrick spoke first, his words difficult to make out over music blaring in the background. "Check out this body," Merrick laughed, motioning with his free hand as if presenting something on display. "Who would have guessed a stuck-up little brainiac would have a body like this?" "Give me a kiss, babe," he said, grabbing Penny's chin with his hand and turning her head toward him. Matt watched closely. Did she kiss him? It was hard to tell. The video bobbed at the last second, focus blurring as whoever held the camera swayed. Merrick pointed at the camera. "Hold on a second. I want you to scope this ass. You want to show the boys your ass, don't you?" Merrick asked Penny. Penny didn't appear to respond. The camera bounced around as the boys turned her, and then the lens zoomed in on Penny's backside. Laughter and crude comments could be heard from multiple voices off camera. After about 40 seconds of this, the video abruptly ended. "That's it?" Matt asked, surprised. Detective White held up her palms. "That's it?" "I thought it was a rape," Joe said, frowning at the screen. "According to Penny, she doesn't remember anything," Matt said. "It's her father who's pushing the charges. Penny just wants it all to go away, based on what we've heard." Joe leaned back in his chair, considering this. "So what we have is a video of some drunk teenagers being idiots. Distasteful, sure, but nothing that explicitly shows sexual assault." "Penny was clearly incapacitated," White pointed out, her tone sharpening as she turned to face them both. "If they had sex with her in that state, that's rape by definition, whether there's video of it or not." She gestured at the screen, color rising in her cheeks. "And what we just watched? That's sexual assault right there. They're handling her naked body without consent, displaying her like an object. Just because it doesn't show penetration doesn't mean it isn't assault." She crossed her arms, clearly irritated. "I'm surprised I need to explain this to two experienced officers. The fact that she can't even hold herself up should tell you everything you need to know about her ability to consent." Joe might shift uncomfortably. "I'm not saying it isn't serious, Detective. I'm just pointing out it's not what we expected to see." "You're right, White. The behavior on that tape is sexual assault by definition. Handling her body like that without consent crosses the line. What I'm struggling with is connecting what we're seeing here to a beheading." "That's a massive escalation," Matt said. "What did Merrick and Black say?" Joe asked. Detective White looked at Matt. "Your brothers are lawyers, aren't they?" Matt nodded, already knowing where this was heading. "They told us to fuck off. They're representing the boys. Wouldn't let us talk to them." White closed the video file. "The case has been moving at a glacial pace. Reed McKnight's been raising hell about it for months. But without Penny's cooperation or testimony from the boys, we don't have much to go on." "And now one of our suspects has been murdered," Joe said. White raised an eyebrow. "You think McKnight did it? Because his daughter was violated?" "I don't know," Matt said. Matt's phone vibrated in his pocket as he walked toward his truck. He fished it out, glanced at the screen, and hesitated when he saw Cal Merrick's name. Against his better judgment, he answered. "I'm going to kill that motherfucker myself," Cal Merrick shouted into Matt's ear. "Mr. Merrick, I want that son of a bitch dead," Merrick screamed, his voice so loud it distorted through the speaker. Matt held his cell phone away from his ear. Merrick continued to rage on the other end, a torrent of threats and obscenities pouring out. Through the garbled shouting, Matt caught fragments about McKnight and justice. "Mr. Merrick?" He tried again when the shouting momentarily subsided. More yelling erupted, drowning out Matt's attempt to interject. Something crashed in the background on Merrick's end. "If you people won't do your goddamn jobs, I'll handle this myself." Matt said, "I'll be there in 45 minutes. He ended the call and stared at his phone for a moment, then dialed Joe. No answer. Joe had remained at the station to organize and process the increasing mountain of paperwork. This would have to be Matt's problem alone. He started the truck and pulled out of the lot, wondering how much worse this day could get. Matt pulled into the circular driveway of the Merrick estate. The sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows across the manicured lawn. He hadn't even fully stepped out of his truck when the front door flew open and Cal Merrick appeared, wild-eyed and flushed. "Took you long enough," Merrick bellowed. Matt approached the house. The man was grieving, he reminded himself. Grieving people weren't themselves. Cal Merrick paced like a caged animal, disheveled and unraveling. Lois Merrick sat rigid on the edge of a sofa. Her eyes were red-rimmed, vacant with shock. "I want that son of a bitch arrested," Cal Merrick shouted, red-faced. He kicked a decorative brass spittoon, sending it tumbling across the polished hardwood floor with a hollow, resonant clang. It came to rest against the fireplace hearth. Matt watched. He wanted to feel sympathy for Merrick, and he did, but he didn't like the man. His heart, however, went out to Lois Merrick, who sat crying on the couch, seemingly oblivious to her husband's display of rage. His eyes settled on what had to be the reason for his summons, a small brown box sitting on the glass coffee table at one end of the couch. Plain cardboard, about 6 inches square, with the top flaps pulled back. From what Matt was able to gather from the phone call, Cal Merrick was the one who had opened it. Inside, partially wrapped in clear plastic, were what appeared to be severed male genitals. Matt's stomach tightened. He'd seen a lot in his career, but this kind of calculated cruelty, this deliberate attempt to maximize the family's suffering, still disturbed him. "Mr. Merrick, I need you to help me by answering my questions." "If you think I'm going to—" Merrick started, spittle flying from his mouth. "Shut up, Cal," Lois Merrick said. Her eyes, previously unfocused, suddenly sharpened. "Agent Barry is right. He can't help if we don't answer his questions." Cal Merrick's mouth snapped shut. He glared at Matt but didn't speak again. Matt nodded his thanks to Mrs. Merrick and turned to her husband. "How did you get the box?" Cal pointed toward the front of the house. "From the mailbox." Matt examined the box closely without touching it. It bore no postage marks or shipping labels, meaning someone must have placed it into the mailbox by hand. The cardboard was clean, ordinary, available at any shipping store or office supply shop. Nothing distinctive. "What time was that?" Matt asked. Cal shrugged, running a hand over his face. "Right before I called you. Are you going to stand here and—" Matt cut him off. "Did you see anybody? Any cars or individuals?" Cal shook his head. "I wasn't paying attention. It's not like I was expecting—" He gestured vaguely toward the box, unable to finish the sentence. "After you retrieved the package from the mailbox, what did you do next?" "I opened the goddamn thing, isn't that obvious?" Merrick shouted, his volume rising again. Matt said nothing, waiting. Merrick let out a long breath. His shoulders slumped. "I brought it into the house. I set it on the coffee table. Then I opened it." He glanced at his wife. "Lois was upstairs. When I saw what it was, I yelled. And that's when I came down," Lois said. "I saw it." Cal was already on the phone. "Are you the only one who touched it?" Matt asked, directing the question to Cal. Merrick nodded. "Yeah, just me." "Who usually gets the mail?" Merrick looked at his wife. "Both of us. Sometimes I do. Sometimes my wife does." "Why is that important?" "It might not be," Matt said, "but if someone was watching the house, they might have timed the delivery for when they knew you'd be the one to find it." A flash of understanding crossed Merrick's face. "You think someone wanted me specifically to open it?" "It wasn't a question." "I'm considering all possibilities," Matt replied. "Have you seen anything suspicious in the neighborhood lately? Anyone hanging around who shouldn't be?" "Not me," Merrick said after a moment's thought. Lois Merrick shook her head slowly. "No. I'm going to take this and have it sent to the crime lab," he said, nodding toward the box. "You don't think I want to keep the goddamn thing, do you?" Merrick shouted, his momentary calm evaporating. He began pacing again, fists clenching and unclenching at his sides. "Are you going to have that fucker McKnight arrested or not?" "We are doing our jobs, Mr. Merrick," Matt said. "When it's time for an arrest, we'll make one." "McKnight won't get away with this," Merrick said, his voice dropping to something more dangerous than his shouts had been. If you cops won't do anything, I will. Lois's head snapped up at that, real fear flashing across her face. Cal, don't. Matt stepped between them. Mr. Merrick, I understand you're in pain, but making threats like that only complicates our investigation. He held Merrick's gaze, and it won't bring Raymond back. Merrick stared at him, jaw working. For a moment, Matt thought the man might take a swing at him. Then something in Merrick crumpled, and he sank heavily into an armchair. Just find who did this, he said, suddenly sounding older and very tired. Find them. Matt nodded once. We will.